This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Do you want better mental health? Then BetterHelp is for you. It is affordable, accessible, and most importantly, personalized online therapy. There is a special offer to the Lucy Pod listeners. You can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/thelucypod. That's better, HELP.com/thelucypod. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. Please remember that the Lucy Pod is not a replacement for professional medical advice. If you have questions or concerns about your own amazing brain, please speak to a medical professional. I wish to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which I speak to you all today, the peoples of the Kulin Nation. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Lucy Pod. I hope that you are all well and are staying safe and behaving yourselves. Today is part one of a very exciting 3-part interview with my dear friend Claire. She is a very, very dedicated and intelligent student studying, correct me if I'm wrong Claire, she'll probably correct me later on in the episode, quantitative mathematics. Anyway, she's doing a degree for people who are really good at maths and science. She's also a very talented dancer. She does ballet, which I'm obsessed with, especially her point shoes. And she's a very, very talented seamstress and is currently making this stunning dress that I will be stealing. Anyways, today we are going to be talking about OCD and ADHD and the overlap, the differences and whatnot. And we're going to talk about the ways in which we can still be proud and consider ourselves to be ADHD, to be OCD, without it letting define us as people like to say. So we get into all of those dilemmas and all of those topics, and it's going to be very, very fun. So please enjoy. In this episode of the Lucy Pod, we do talk about heavy themes that may be triggering, such as mental illness, in particular depression, anxiety, suicide, suicidal ideation, death, sexual assault, and eating disorders. Please take care of yourself and don't hesitate to reach out for help if you need it. Resources are linked in the description. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Lucy Pod. I have a very special guest with me, my lovely friend Claire. So hi Claire.
Hello.
How are you today?
I am very well, I'm so excited.
I'm very excited as well. So tell us a bit about yourself. Talk to us.
Well, I am a student, a university student. I'm studying science. My major is mathematical physics.
Very smart.
Lucy and I have been friends for a few years now.
A few years.
Yeah.
We met in French class.
We met in French class, so that was fun. We were an absolute mess.
We were menaces.
Anyway, we were awful and our tutor hated us, but but we did well, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Outside of uni, apart from work, obviously, I am a ballet dancer and I play the piano as well.
And you're a very good seamstress.
Well, I try to be.
You have that red dress sitting
Yes.
in your place and I want it.
Work in project for the past 2 years, but you know.
It's so pretty.
It'll get there.
So nice.
It'll get there.
I love it. So today we're going to talk about the overlap between ADHD and OCD because you sent me a Venn diagram and it was like ADHD, OCD, and it had all these things that they had in common. And a lot of people with ADHD have OCD as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very interesting because they're kind of similar in the way like the persistent sort of thought pattern, like with ADHD, like getting stuck on something. So it is very interesting. So when were you diagnosed with OCD?
I believe it was end of 2018, start of 2019. So just like right after finishing year 12 when I first started getting like some proper therapy.
Yeah. And what made you get diagnosed? Like, did you think, oh, I'll just go to therapy because therapy's good? Or was there something where you're like, I need to go to therapy. This would be something to talk about.
More the first. Like, I had a pretty rough go of it in VCA. I was so burnt out by the end of year 12, finished my exams. I was fighting with all my teachers. You know, I was just exhausted, cranky, anxious, depressed, all of the worst things that you want to be.
Yeah.
And my lovely parents have always been so supportive and they said, look, now that year 12's over, you have no excuse, go get some therapy. And I was like, yep, let's do this. I really want help.
Yeah.
And it just kind of came from that, you know, just seeing someone, and she turned around and said, you know what, all of this really matches closely with OCD. And it took me a second, and I was like, you know what, you might be onto something there.
That's interesting. So after she said that, was there like a diagnostic process, or was it just this sounds like OCD?
Not a super strict diagnostic process for OCD, because it can be super different for so many people. A lot of it was just sort of going through, you know, the typical DSM-5 things, just vaguely going through like some major markers that most OCD people hit. You know, I spoke to some other friends who were diagnosed with OCD and found that we related on so many things, and discussed that with my therapist. And she said, look, I'm pretty certain, as certain as you can be about any sort of mental health diagnosis. A lot of them can be just so up in the air and can change and be so fluid. But yeah, it was kind of a weird sort of label, I guess, that I was just not expecting. But then I found that it fit.
It worked.
Yeah.
And do you prefer to be called OCD, or you're like, I have OCD?
Look, I'm not super fussed either way. I personally prefer to say I have OCD.
Yeah.
Just because I try so hard to not let the OCD thought patterns take over my life.
So it's not you, I have OCD,
just,
like it
just
is
because,
not me.
Just because some of the thought patterns can be really quite harmful in a way.
Not
like physically harmful.
But they're not pleasant.
Yeah, but they're not fun, and I don't want to sort of let myself think that it's me that's the problem when really it's just the disorder.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'm proud to have OCD.
Yeah.
Like, I'm proud to be OCD. And, you know, if someone says that I am an OCD person, I'm like, that's exactly me.
Yeah. And then there's a difference between being like, oh my God, I'm so OCD, and then being like, no, I'm OCD.
For real.
How do those comments make you feel?
Oh my gosh, they just make me feel so exhausted, you know, because having OCD like ADHD is just a constant battle. Yeah. Every day is like trying to work with your brain when it's just trying to fight against you.
And it's not like a quirky thing
it's
of like,
quirky.
Oh, lol, I saw a squirrel and I like to have my pencils color-coded.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, great that you like to keep your things organized. You know, I do too. Yeah. But that just totally invalidates all of the awful intrusive thoughts and the compulsions and the patterns of behavior that I have to go through. Yeah. Not to say that I am, you know, awfully discriminated against or whatever, but it's still...
No, but it's not.
It's just really disheartening to have people just trivialise something that has such a huge
It's serious.
Impact.
It's not. Absolutely. It's not that. Like, people genuinely... I don't know where OCD got thought of as being organised. Like, it's so weird. Like, I've always known OCD to be this thing of like, if I don't tap this 100 times, my mum's gonna die. Like, for me, someone who's obsessed with being clean, I would put that down to hypochondria.
Yeah, no, precisely. And like, for me, it's more of the fear of being dirty and grimy rather than the fear of being messy.
Yeah, and the fear of being dirty and grimy isn't you being like, oh my God, gotta go wash my hands all the time. Oh, I stepped here.
Exactly. It's like I funny example from the other day, I picked up a dirty tissue off the ground and my hand just felt like it was static because I was like, I've just touched something dirty. Yeah. And it was all I could focus on until I sanitized my hands. Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's just these all-consuming thoughts that I know are completely irrational. It was an unused tissue. Like, it was just on the floor, but I still had it in my mind that it was dirty.
It's an intrusive sort of, I get that. And I was going to ask, so when you did that and you did the therapy and you were diagnosed, did they give you solutions, or were they like, I think you should start medication, or what was the process?
Yeah, definitely a combination of both. Yeah. Because at the time I was in a pretty bad sort of rut. I'd hit a bit of a ditch that we just sort of had to try and kick me out of to get onto the path of being able to help myself. The first step was medication. Yeah.
How did that make you feel? Were you open to that?
I was pretty open to it. I was a little bit scared at first because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm one of those mentally ill people who has to take medication. But then I was like, it's just a tablet. Like, you know, I've got so family and friends who've been taking antidepressants on and off for years.
Grandparents, great-grandparents.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, relatives who've had some really intense psychiatric treatment as well. And I'm like, you know what? I didn't judge them when they went through it. So why do I feel like they would judge me?
No, and so your parents were supportive.
My parents were very supportive. They were really the ones that got me in there in the first place.
That's good.
So they've been super understanding and supportive. I don't know how I would have coped without them.
Because some parents are really like, they want to support their kids, but they really
just
find
don't know
medication...
And medication just to them, it feels like a step too far.
A step too far. And it's just not, because if you were told, hey, your kid's going to die of cancer if they don't take this medication, most parents would say, oh, I'll give them the medication.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to mental health stuff,
Yeah.
a lot of parents are apprehensive. They think, oh, like it's mind altering, it'll do this to them, and it doesn't alter your brain in that way.
No,
it doesn't,
absolutely. It balances chemicals, but it's not going to change you. Who you are.
No, like it's not. I'd be more concerned if they were recommending, I don't know, like psychedelics or, you know, letting you live like that. Because the more you live with an untreated illness, the more it is likely to change you and your brain.
Absolutely, especially with an ongoing disorder like ADHD or OCD, where there's no cure. You're just going to have to live with it and manage it for your life, for the rest of your life, and try and use it to your advantage. If you just let it go untreated, it
damages.
It's really, really harmful, and it just gets worse.
It's almost kind of deteriorates. I wouldn't compare it to dementia, but it almost, the way in which mental illnesses act on the brain is a bit like dementia. It calcifies and it kind of rots your brain.
Yeah,
it changes everything, and that's why when you see people who are deep in their depression and OCD, you see they're completely changed individuals because they never got the help.
Exactly, and you know, it can do so much damage to the frontal lobe, which is where your personality is, your emotional control is. Yeah. And as soon as that starts to go haywire, it's just a slippery slope.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
The worse you feel, the worse you act, the worse it gets, and it just spirals out of control.
Yeah, it's really, really not violent. I was going to say it's very problematic. It's
absolutely
no. And I was going to ask, how do you find medication? Do you think it has worked? How are the side effects? Because I talk to a lot of people, and a lot of people struggle with all their medications with side effects. And I wish there was a way to make people immune.
For sure. Look, the side effects are quite a lot. You sort of, at first, because obviously you start off on quite a low dose just to get used to it. And things like the nausea that I was getting, it was pretty awful, and it just, you know, like other random things, like it just ruins your sex drive, which can have an effect on your relationships. Luckily, I'm in, you know, a great relationship with.
I was going to ask you that afterwards. How is it being?
Yeah, it doesn't affect it for me, luckily, but I know that it can really be quite harmful for a lot of other people.
It really stuffs you up.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, the specific medication that I chose or requested in, you know, regards to the different options that I had came from a discussion with my parents saying, okay, genetically, what things have you guys taken? What have you responded to? What have you found? And the one that I am on currently is one that my dad has taken off and on his whole life. And we had a really in-depth conversation, and every single time, bang on, every single side effect that he mentioned, I got.
There you go. So it's...
Yeah, exactly. So it definitely helped having people to be able to talk to it with who I know, like, physically I'm going to react really similarly to them. Yeah. Yeah, I found it really has helped. I guess the way to think of it is like on a roller coaster. You got really high ups and really low lows. Yeah. And I was just getting lots of lows. Yeah. But I was also getting some pretty decent highs as well. But
don't mistake highs for drug highs, because people love to do that thing where they go,
not.
So you get high on your... No, we're not referring to that.
No, I mean an emotional... Your spirits. Yeah. You feel
elated.
Good. Yeah. You feel good, you're in a good mood. Yeah. Which was pretty rare at the time for me, but, you know, now it's so much better. Yeah. But for me, it sort of balanced out that roller coaster to be more of like a train track, a flat surface. That way when the bumps come up, it's nowhere near as bad.
It's not a low, like your meds are there to kind of...
Exactly. And I can still sort of jump myself up to really good moods. You know, I have really great days all the time. But the bad days are few and far between. And when they do come around, they're so much more mild, which, while it doesn't fix the problem, it gives me the chance to almost rehearse in a way my coping mechanisms. Yeah. Because if I'm in a bit of a bad spot, but not too bad, like I'm in a right enough state of mind to be able to, all right, let's try some breathing exercises, see what works. Let's try some visualization exercises. Let's try, you know, just talking to someone and be able to trial it, try and get it to it, give it a proper go without being so distracted and so
distressed.
A lot of people don't realize when you're in a really bad place, trying to use those coping mechanisms, at least for me, is frustrating.
Yeah.
If I am in, having a panic attack and someone says, why don't you try meditation?
It's like, fuck off.
It literally makes me violently angry.
I
can't control that reaction. I'm
same.
just furious at the idea that
like how dare you say that? I'm like past the stage of sitting down, of talking it out. Now it's just, I'm in blind white rage and I want to kill you.
Absolutely. And like I am completely just overcome with it. Like I have no control in my brain to be able to focus on the breathing because my brain is not letting me focus on anything other than what is distracting.
It's the before. And I remember my psychologist said that to me once. I was saying to her, I'm really, I don't know what it was about. I think it was about something that was stressful that was coming up that I knew that if it happened, it was going to impact me for a long time. She said, the more you prepare for it and think about it, when you are in the stressful state, you're better likely to be more equipped with dealing with it. She goes, don't deal with it when it happens, but don't stew on it beforehand, but prepare yourself and go, this thing might happen. It will be bad, but I will be okay. I think it was in reference to like, I was fearful of my parents dying or something like that. It was like an anxiety because of that. And I was stuck on that. And she said, when this happens, you will be very sad, right? Everyone is. However, you'll surprise yourself because you've thought about this, how much you can deal with it.
Absolutely.
Your body is able to cope with things.
It's so funny that you bring that up because something else, I don't know if this is just like an OCD, ADHD, like sticking point. Yeah. But death.
Yeah, death, yeah.
Death, especially family members, pets.
Pets, yeah.
Friends.
Me, not so much. I don't care about my own death.
Me, I don't, I mean... To me, in my brain, I'm like, if I die, I'm not going to know.
Yeah. That's my exact reasoning. It's like the reason I worry about other people dying, it's because, and it's a bit selfish, it's like they're dead, they don't know, but we're all left behind and we know they're dead.
We have to live with it.
Whereas like if I, like obviously I love my life, I don't want to die, but I'm not like, oh, I'm going to die, but I have this fear around people dying around me. Like they're just going to die suddenly and I'm going to be by myself.
Exactly. Yeah. And when my grandma passed away, that was such a confronting thing because it was like the first real like death of someone close to me. Yeah. And beforehand, because I mean, we kind of knew it was happening. We had some pretty decent warning in advance, so which we were very lucky. Yeah, gave us a good chance to say goodbye and everything. And for me, it was about just having like a decent conversation with myself, less of the letting myself stew and ruminate, like you said about oh my gosh, like I'm going to be so miserable, everything's going to go wrong.
She's gone, like that's it. Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be terrible. Yeah. And more of the okay, this is life. Yeah.
Literally it is life.
It's her life. If she wants to go, she deserves to go if that's what she wants. She doesn't have to live in pain because I want her around.
That's not fair. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But mortality, it makes you confront your own mortality, like, because you think, like, even though my grandparents were old when they passed and they're old, I thought that they were going to be around for a long time. Like, you look at your parents and your grandparents as these really immortal beings.
Absolutely.
And maybe that's, like, a childlike lens, and I just remember when my grandma died, it was like, no, death is very real, and now, oh my God, my mum lost her mum. Imagine if I lose my mum. So then that becomes the sticking point of, my mum's going to die. Like, I'm going to be an orphan. It's like, she's not going to die. Like, she's at home watching TV. Yes. Eating dinner. She just texted you. She's not going to, fall down and hit her head and die, Lucy. Stop. Yeah.
It's that catastrophizing.
Yes.
That just comes out of nowhere. And it gets stuck. And, it's so easy to say, just think of something else. Focus on something else. And it's like, if I could, I would. Sense. Like, trust me, I'm trying. That's the point. I want to think of other things. I want to focus on other things, but I physically can't.
I can't. It's not. Yeah, no. It's frustrating. And the other thing I was going to ask is that, do you think that if you weren't on medication, do you think those coping mechanisms would still work now that you've become older? Because a lot of people say, I don't have to take my meds anymore. I'm good. I'm able to do those visualizations. I don't have those sticking thoughts because I've kind of matured through them. Or you're like, no, I want my meds always.
It's a bit of a
Also, excuse me for the dogs barking. Pardon that. Like, I'm going to put a PSA at the beginning of the episode. So if you hear dogs barking, don't crucify us.
They just want to be involved in
they're contributing. But
they have thoughts. Yeah, a bit of a unique situation, I guess, being that we've just gone through a pandemic. Like I had about a year or two of really working on my mental health before lockdowns happened and we were kind of forced to be very introspective about everything.
It's almost to an unhealthy degree, I would say.
Yeah, and I would say I guess matured. I mean, I would have thought I was pretty mature at the start of the pandemic anyway.
Yeah.
But I feel like just the life experiences that we've all been forced to have over the past couple of years kind of makes my answer a little bit different, because I would say, you know what, maybe if I hadn't taken the medication, you know, I probably wouldn't be where I am now. I don't think I would have been able to get through the pandemic as well as I did. Yeah. Not to say that I would not be alive or anything, but I feel like I would just be in a very, very bad state.
A bit of a shell, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I certainly wouldn't be myself. But if that hadn't happened and I hadn't taken the medication and I just worked on the coping techniques, would that have worked?
It's a hard question because it's like...
It's kind of hard to say, because now I can look back and say, well, I feel like I have a lot better understanding of myself, tools. a lot more rational sort of approach to a lot of different things. But it's just so hard to say. It's so hard to say because the thing is with these disorders is they just latch onto the irrational part of your brain. Yeah. And just feed into that over and over again because it causes the fear. And the fear is just such a powerful emotion.
It makes you move. People,
absolutely.
It's not like... Because not that it's the same, but it's like people think that depression, it's like, you know, when people say to people with depression, you know, you got to get out of bed and blah, blah, blah. Depression doesn't have that effect on your brain. It's the fear part that comes with anxiety and OCD where it's like, I have to be doing something, like there's no time for being in bed, whereas with someone with depression, that kind of part of their brain isn't always switched on, whereas I feel like with OCD and anxiety, and they coincide, it's that fear makes me move. It's like when you're procrastinating, it kind of, fear makes you,
definitely.
And
yeah, no, it's very weird. And I guess it just comes down to the fact that we are human. We're animals. Our brains are hardwired to fixate on things that scare us because we need to know about them so that we can avoid them, so that we can survive.
Even if they're irrational, like I have a fear of being stabbed to death by a killer clown. It's
irrational.
It's irrational, but
like that's a real danger.
So you need to know how to deal with it, and it's like it's not going to happen though, and that's the other part of your brain telling you. So the other thing I was going to ask is, how did you find the pandemic? As if you're going to be like, it was great. And how did you find online uni? Because I did a whole series about how shit it was.
Yeah, look,
it's hell.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, hell.
I did not cope with online uni at all.
Me neither. I've yet to meet people in person that coped.
For sure. It. I don't know what happened, but during that whole pandemic, it just ruined my ability to focus on anything. And like, if I think back of during the lockdowns, what did I do every day? I genuinely don't know. Like, I don't remember. I just was in a trance this whole time.
Yeah, it's almost like, and I remember being in it going, oh my God, like when I come out of this, it's going to be horrible. But I don't remember it. Like, it's almost like you can't come out of a fugue state. Like, in it, you're like, this is going to have so much damage. Yeah. And now that we're here, I think, I don't remember being at home, or maybe that's my brain saying, like, don't remember it because it was so bad. I don't know, but it's
kind of like when you wake up from a nightmare.
Yes.
You wake up, you still have all that residual, like, adrenaline in your body. You're still on high alert, you know. You're still super hyper aware of all these different things, but you don't really remember why.
Yeah, you don't, and you're trying to go back and think, like, okay, so what happened in the nightmare, did I? And I try to go back and think about lockdown, and it's just like, no, I don't remember.
Yeah. I have vague flashes of various different things that, like, I worked on, but honestly, it's all just such a blur. It was...
And I don't want to remember it. Like, I don't want to reflect.
No, it wasn't a pleasant experience. The whole time was spent, you know, I got obsessed with the numbers, just checking the case numbers every single day, and it gave me, I guess, a little bit of a sense of control at first, but then it just made me feel
how
worse.
did it cope? How did you deal with the sort of... Do you have that OCD where it's the health one, where like you're obsessing over the numbers and it's like, I'm going to get COVID, or was it just like, I'm checking numbers? Cause
it's more, I mean, I've always had a fixation on numbers, which...
I love that. You're good at math.
Surprise, I'm studying mathematical physics. Are we shocked? I think I got my fixation on numbers from my grandma. She used to count everything.
I love that. Okay.
Like, she'd just sit there and count things and I feel like that's where I got that sort of side of things.
She passed it on.
Yes,
well, that's kind of a good thing.
She stays with me everywhere I
go. Not in a ghost way.
I mean, I wish in a ghost way. I feel like that'd be kind of
way.
fun. I feel like that'd be fun to have a ghost.
I want my grandparents to come back as ghosts. They'd be so fun.
Like that'd be so good. I feel like I'd chat mad shit with a ghost version of my grandma.
And they'd be able to do such funny stuff that they normally wouldn't. They'd be able to give you ghost money. You know how grandparents
ghost money, sign me up.
It's like
real
50.
money isn't working for me, so I'm going to have to resort to ghost money.
Ghost money, I love that. So how did you find uni? Did you get help from uni, or were you like...
Honestly, I just went blind to it all. I definitely failed quite a few subjects during lockdown, which everyone did. And like at the time, I was just I was really upset about the fact that like I was going to have to repeat subjects. But then I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going through a lot right now.
Yeah.
Lockdown's hard for the best of us. Yeah. Let alone, like, I was working in allied health the whole time. Yeah. We didn't get work from home. We were in the clinic dealing with people every day, which in a way can be very, like, great. You got something, something fairly normal to hold on to. But on the other hand, it's like the world's ending around you. Everyone else is staying home and doing whatever, and I still have to go to work.
Yeah, and you feel very stuck. Like, I remember feeling like there wasn't anything else I could do. Like, if I had a day of online uni, it was I either fixate on my online uni, which tires me out and upsets me, or I'll fixate on building a house on Sims and then stress about the stuff that I didn't do.
Exactly.
And then,
oh my gosh, for sure.
And my anxious dog Bubbles agrees because she's barking the whole time.
Bubbles,
stop barking. Yeah, and it's exactly that. It's this... this repetitive, self-sabotaging process, and it doesn't do any favours.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Gross. It's gross. Are you, so you're back on campus now, aren't you?
Yeah. So I'm taking so long to do my degree, but whatever. Honestly, who cares? COVID happened. Yeah. I will take
so many people are taking their time to do their degrees.
Like, I missed out on 2 years of uni culture, being on campus.
We only had 1 year on campus, literally. Our first year, which is good. I feel like we're very lucky on that front.
I'm so lucky, timing-wise, so glad that I got to have my first year on campus. I lived on res at the time.
I know.
It was fantastic. Yeah. I really got the full experience. And then all of a sudden, it was gone.
It was taken away.
It was gone, and for how long, we didn't know. And I was like, I honestly don't want to finish my degree in lockdown. Yeah. Because then what? I've spent thousands of dollars to look at a computer screen in my own home. No, I want to...
pay for the facilities.
I want to pay for the culture. I want to pay for the experience of, just like walking around campus with a coffee. Yeah, I romanticize being on campus.
Absolutely. I love it. I miss it. It's really important.
You can't help it. And you know what? If that's what it takes for you to be happy with your life, to just romanticize the little things, fantastic.
Fantastic. It's better than making it doom and gloom, like, oh, gotta go on campus today. Like, I would much rather be like, gonna be on campus today.
I'm gonna put on a cute outfit.
Yes, go to cut crepes, get some lunch at Tiamo, then go and study. Yes. Let's go get the bill. Like, just so ADHD.
Classic.
It's vocal stims. Yeah, no, I agree, and I pray that we don't go back to being online because I don't think my brain will cope.
Yeah, but
I think my brain will regress.
I think one of the great things that has come for and hopefully will stick around is the choice. Yes. The ability to choose between being online or being on campus or hybrid with your work, working in the office or working from home. Yeah. For some people, working in the office is great. Like, they need that separation from home and work. I do, personally. Same. I do. I don't like the idea of working from home.
Because home is my place to enjoy. Exactly. Where I occasionally do homework, but it's a space for me to...
Precisely.
Yeah, exactly.
It's as soon as I walk in the door when I get home, that is it. I'm switched off.
Yeah.
Same. When I wake up in the morning, my morning is, I try to be quite relaxed and calm. Yeah. And then I leave and then I'm in work mode.
Yeah, no, I'm the same.
For some people, they're got a 2-hour commute,
kids at home. Not feeling well, bad mental health day, bad physical health day, and they would rather be in bed working from home.
Exactly.
God bless them.
People with various different mental illnesses who work better alone at home. Yeah. Even just introverted people
Yeah.
who feel better.
You don't want to be in the office.
Exactly.
I get it. I get it.
You know, like people with chronic illnesses and chronic pain and, various disabilities who previously may not have even been able to participate in the workforce.
And I think that's a really good thing, because a lot of the time people say, well, the reason we don't hire people with this and that is because, they wouldn't be able to do the job. And it's like, no, they wouldn't be able to do it in that way. But if you offered some of it at home,
it's
like obviously...
Just because they can't do it the same way that you do it doesn't mean that they're doing it wrong.
They're doing it wrong. And people always use that argument, well, would you hire someone who can't walk to do being a tradie? And it's like, why are you taking the most absurd scenario? It could be just as much as, working in a call center. They can't come into the office for whatever reason. You can set it up from home now.
And honestly, if I call a call center, I'd much rather be talking to someone who's comfortable at home. They've got their cup of tea there.
Exactly.
They're not fluffy blanket on their legs.
Yeah.
Rather than someone who is sitting in the call center who got so much noise around them, they can't focus, they're uncomfortable, the aircon's blasting on their face, they've got a headache.
Yeah.
Like, no one's happy in that situation.
No one's happy. I think the option of choice is really, really good. And I think especially for uni students who are ADHD, who have anxiety, OCD, I think that's an important option. I just wish it hadn't been born out of the pandemic.
Absolutely. It would have been nice if we'd all just sort of turn around and decided to say, you know what, we have like this full online resource. Like, we have technology that is just...
amazing,
incredible nowadays. Let's use it to our advantage. We were kind of forced to do that, which is a shame, but
now we have something to look forward to.
We've got to try and look at the bright sides here. Otherwise, it's just nothing.
It's nothing. And I was going to ask, moving on from uni, because I hate uni.
Oh my gosh.
Online uni is... what is it like being in a relationship and having OCD, and how does your partner support you?
Oh, my partner's fantastic. Like, he has also dealt with like major depressive disorder and anxiety as well. So he's very much not unfamiliar.
A lot of empathy.
Yeah, exactly. And, we're there for each other. But OCD is quite a different beast to a lot of other, general anxiety disorders and depressive disorders in that it's, it really changes the way you think. Like, you think in a very different way to everyone else. Yeah. I'm sure that's something you have come across a lot with ADHD. Yeah. And I'm trying to explain how my brain works. Yeah. I know it doesn't make sense to you, especially when you're like someone, he is such a logical person, like he's a very intelligent person who just sort of...
Same with Trent.
A to B to C. And I'm like, look, I've gone to A to C, then back to B,
and then there's no D.
And then I skipped all the way to Z, and now I'm there, and I'm telling you the answer to this, like the solution to this, and you're like, how did you get there? And like,
why did you get there? How could... I
don't know.
I don't know.
Like, I genuinely don't understand how my brain's working sometimes. But, and a lot of our, a lot of our discussions are just him trying to understand what's happening in my brain. Yeah. And he's very open-minded about it all. But, sometimes it's just like, I'm in a panic attack and all I need is just a really tight hug, someone to bring me a glass of water, and he's there for that. And that's one of the nice things of having someone...
a good partner.
Exactly. Someone stable in your life.
And doesn't make you feel like a burden.
Absolutely. Someone who, you love each other, you do those sorts of things for each other. Yeah.
Without keeping score or being
exactly, it's not about keeping score
and bringing it back up again later on. Like, remember when I comforted you in that moment? Like
it's something you said. He was like, I hate seeing you upset.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, that's exactly it. You help someone because you love them and you don't want them to be upset, not because you're in a relationship and you feel obligated.
Yeah, it's like, I don't like to see anyone. No, it's the same, and I think it really bothers me when people like. I'm allowed to say Trent's a saint with my ADHD. I'm allowed to say that. But I don't like it when I hear other people talking, going, he's with so-and-so and she's like super depressed. He's so good with her. Like, he's so
it's like you're just making it sound like she's a burden.
Yeah, and it kind of frustrates me. Even sometimes people go like, oh, is your boyfriend good with it? And I say, well, he almost should be. Like, I'm sorry, if you agree to be in a relationship with someone, I don't know why you should be rewarded for being decent about it. It's just so he was there for you when you were sad? Oh, well done. No,
that's just what you do when you love someone.
And I wouldn't be with someone who treated me any different. Like, I appreciate it, but I don't look at it and think like, wow, like what a sacrifice it is to be with me.
Yeah, it's like, oh gosh, you must be so strong to live with someone who's so difficult.
And it's really hurtful.
It's so insulting.
It's really mean. Like, I remember looking up ADHD in relationships for my other episode that I did with Trent, and all the results were how to love your ADHD partner.
It's like if you need to be told how to love your ADHD partner,
there's something wrong with you then.
You don't love them. You need to do them a favour
and leave. And like you see some of the comments of people and I'm thinking, your partner might be ADHD, but the way that you are writing about them, you sound like you've got something going on with yourself. Like, I resent my partner so much. I don't know what to do with them. It's like, that's
it sounds like you're the issue here.
It sounds like you've got some sort of lack of empathy going on. You've got your own issues. And it's just, I find that really upsetting, all the whole, like, people writing, like, poems and stories saying, like, loving my ADHD partner, loving my OCD, loving my autistic child.
Oh, absolutely.
And you just think...
It just reeks of saviorism.
Like, I totally get being the parent of an ADHD kid, an autistic kid, and a kid with OCD is difficult.
It's hard.
But no more difficult than what it is to have it.
Yeah, but it's like you shouldn't be going looking for praise for doing the bare minimum of just being a parent, just being
and talking about your
partner.
child, like, especially like if you're talking about like an infant, like loving my ADHD kid, they're not even at the age yet where you can say they know what they're doing. They're like 5 years old. They don't know any better. You do as the parent.
Exactly.
You know better.
It's like, can you just imagine how it would feel for your kid to know that your parent thinks of you as such a burden that they
go on Reddit
out and they search for praise for looking after you.
It's really, and then it's like, so why did you have a child?
Exactly.
Oh, well, I didn't know they were going to be that. It's like, I'm sorry, if you have a kid and you don't know that there's a possibility that your kid's going to be neurodivergent,
then don't have
kids. Talk about that.
Then you will straight up, flat out, will not be a good parent.
Yeah.
If you are not prepared for a neurodivergent child. If you are not prepared for a disabled child.
Yeah.
If you are not prepared for...
a shitty child.
A shitty child who's an asshole.
Yeah.
If you're not prepared to have a child who's an asshole and to be able to look after them and love them and, teach them life lessons and set them on the straight and narrow, you're not prepared to be a parent, full stop.
Full stop. I agree. I think it takes a very special set of people to be good parents. And like you said, your parents and my parents, I think are fabulous and they've done it well. And maybe it's the profession my parents are in. I think like with being a teacher, you have to be aware that you are going to have beautiful children. You're going to have revolting children, kids who go on to be revolting forever.
You're going to have just absolute nightmares. But you know what? That's just the
way it is. You're going to have kids who don't get it. You're going to have kids who just don't get the simplest concepts, but you have to demonstrate a lot of empathy. And I don't know how my parents do it because I'm such an impatient...
so easy to get frustrated, but it's like that's why we don't do that job.
No way.
I'm not a teacher because I...
Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. Don't forget the special offer to the Lucy Pod listeners, where you can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/thelucypod. That's better, HELP.com/thelucypod.